Hi guys, it's Aimee. Many of you guys actually struggle with chip shots where you make bigger swings. So today I'm going to show you how to hit a 25-yard chip shot. If you have seen my short chip shot lesson, you probably know how to take your setup correctly. Everything's basically the same. Weight on the left, open stance, maintaining that 60% in the backswing, etc., etc., the same. Except right now, the ball is about 25 yards from the hole, and to the edge of the green from the ball is about 15 yards. Edge to the hole is about 10 yards. So I have a 58-degree wedge. Everybody's different, but for me, I fly this about 2/3 and then it runs out about 1/3. So here I'm going to fly about 18 yards onto the green and then let it run out 7 yards. So this is an ideal club for me to hit in this situation. So when I want to hit it about 18 yards, my backswing is going to be slightly past parallel to the ground. So it's a bigger swing than as if you're going to do a 5-yard chip, right? So when you start making bigger swings, your balance is going to get thrown off. So you want to widen your stance ever so slightly. So with the 5-yard carry, you used to have a super narrow stance where one fist fits between your feet, but in this case, I'm gonna go ahead and widen. So 1.5, 2 fist fit between my feet. So it's not that much of a difference, just slightly wider so I don't lose my balance. Okay, everything else is the same. Ball position is still left to the middle, but because the stance is wider, it'll look a little bit different. That's all, the same ball position, okay? All right, so when you're hitting, there are 2 things you really need to be careful of. Number 1 is hinging. A lot of people get really confused and have difficult time understanding the hinging part, but you just gotta simplify it, right? So hinging happens exactly the same as your full swing, but you're just taking it back smaller, that's all, okay? You're not changing your hinging mechanics at all. So let's look at the full swing. There are 2 ways of hinging. Early hinging. When you're early hinging, you've hinged a lot by the time your left arm is pointing at 8 o'clock, right? If you have classical hinging, where you hinge a little bit later, it starts hinging right around when the arm is halfway through it, pointing at 9 o'clock. Tiger Woods does this, I do this. There's no right or wrong. It's just a matter of what works best for you. When I hinge a little bit later, like the classical style, it syncs up the club head, the hands, and the body perfectly for me. That's why I do it. You gotta find your own style, you gotta know your own style, and apply it to your chipping as well. The only thing is, it's such a small swing, a lot of people get caught up on the small size swing and they start doing things differently. Like when you're hinging, some people start using their hands, your forearms and shoulders to hinge. So sometimes you hinge all at once and then turn, or you don't hinge at all. That's wrong, right? Because you don't swing your full swing like that. If you have more questions on the hinging part, I do have a separate video, so it'll be a good idea to take a look at that one and come back to this lesson. So if you tend to use your hand strength to try and hinge in your chip shots, we don't want to do that. So you have to understand the concept that you have to use your body rotation, that momentum to get the hinging going. So it looks like this. You're using the turning momentum to fold that wrist. You see how natural that was? So it's almost like your rotation and the wrist hinge happens simultaneously, right? So instead of like using your arms this way, you're kind of using the rotation to let that wrist fold. Looks very natural, in sync, rhythm looks great, right? That's what we want. All right, let's move on. Second point is, a lot of people think because it's a smaller swing that your downswing speed should be a lot faster than your full swing downswing. This is wrong, because when you make a full swing, you're coiled at maximum and you're using a lot of hip power to get that downswing happen. With the chip shot, you're just controlling the distance by the weight of the club head and the size of the backswing. There really isn't much coil and hip movement involved in this. So your downswing is going to feel a lot slower than your full swing. Does it make sense? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and use a towel to show you that concept. I have made a knot on my towel, so this is going to be a little bit heavier. I'm gonna call it the club head, and this floppy part of the towel, the shaft. So you're gonna make some chip shot swings with this, and you're going to just use your body to lead the shaft and the club head through the downswing. You're not gonna rush. You're going to feel the weight of the club head. Use the body to lead through. But if you try to get the downswing a lot faster, this is what happens. You use your hands and the shaft is flopping around all over the place, right? In this case, you're not able to use the weight of the club head and the size of the backswing to control your distance, right? So your distance control is gonna be very poor. So you really want to do this exercise, trying to feel the heavy part of the towel and use the body to lead that shaft and the club head through. So we're gonna apply the same thing, a little bit wider stance, and we're gonna hinge using the momentum of the rotation, and we're going to let that downswing be slower than your full swing, okay? See how your body was leading that shaft and the club head through, and you're using the weight of the club head and size of the backswing to get that distance correct. So when you have a 25-yard, a long chip shot, don't panic. Just do these 3 things I mentioned today: wider stance, hinge properly, use your body instead of being fast on the way down. Remember those points and get your up and down from a 25-yard chip. I hope you guys were able to follow along. If you have any questions, please come to Ask Aimee section and leave your comments and questions there, and I'll get back to you guys on that. Thanks guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next lesson.